Marvel may have just set up the darkest Spider-Man story we've ever seen. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with the villain. Think about it for a second. Peter Parker has no family, no friend, no Avenger, and not a single person in New York remembers who he is anymore. Now, 4 years later, Marvel says something even stranger has happened. Peter's body is beginning to change. But what exactly does that mean? And why are so many fans convinced this movie could completely redefine Spider-Man in the MCU? Let's break down everything we officially know so far. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hiddenshades. If you're excited for Spider-Man, brand new day, you're in the right place, because today we're breaking down every official detail Marvel has revealed so far. We'll talk about Peter's new life after No Way Home, the mysterious changes happening to his power, the brand new threat waiting for him, and why this could become Tom Holland's most emotional Spider-Man movie yet. So let's jump right in. Before we talk about brand new day, we need to remember exactly where Peter's story left off. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter made the biggest sacrifice of his entire life to stop the multiverse from collapse. Doctor Strange casts a spell that erases Peter Parker from everyone's memory, not just the villain, not just the Avenger, everyone. MJ forgets Ned, forgets him. Even Happy no longer remember how they met. As heartbreaking as that ending was, Peter makes one final decision that says everything about who he is as a hero. Instead of trying to remind MJ and Ned who he is, he simply walks away. He chooses their happiness over his own. By the end of the movie, Peter moves into a tiny apartment, builds a brand new homemade Spider-Man suit, and starts over with absolutely nothing. No support system, no normal life, just Spider-Man. And according to Marvel, that's exactly where brand new day begins. The official story tells that 4 years have passed since No Way Home. Now, that might not sound like a huge detail, but honestly, it changes everything. This isn't the young Spider-Man we met in Civil War anymore. Peter is now a full-grown adult who's been protecting New York completely on his own for years. Nobody knows his real identity. Nobody checks on after a difficult fight. Nobody's waiting for him when he finally gets home. He's carrying the weight of an entire city all by himself. And honestly, that might be the most interesting version of Peter Parker we've ever seen in the MCU, because for the first time, he has to figure out who he really is without Tony Stark, without Aunt May, and without anyone standing beside him. One line from the official synopsis really stood out to me. It says, Peter has devoted himself entirely to protecting New York, a full-time Spider-Man. Now, that sounds pretty cool at first, but think about what it actually means. Spider-Man has always struggled to balance two different lives, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. School, friend, relationship, work, responsibility. That balance has always been what made Spider-Man feel so human. But now, there is no balance. Peter doesn't really have a personal life left. Spider-Man isn't something he does. It's who he is 24 hours a day. And that's exactly what makes this version of the character feel so different from anything we've seen before. Then comes the most mysterious sentence in the entire synopsis. As the pressure on Peter continues to grow, it triggers a surprising physical evolution that threatens his very existence. Marvel chose those words very carefully. They didn't say Peter gets stronger. They didn't say he unlocked a brand new suit. They specifically described it as a physical evolution. That raises a lot of questions. Is his body adapting to years of nonstop fighting? Are his spider abilities mutating into something completely new? Or is whatever's happening actually putting his life in danger? Right now, Marvel hasn't answered any of those questions. And honestly, I think that's intentional, because this single mystery could end up becoming the biggest twist in the entire movie. But Peter's changing body isn't the only problem he's about to face. There's also a brand new threat hiding somewhere in New York, and that's where things start getting really interesting. But Peter's physical evolution isn't the only mystery Marvel is teasing. According to the official synopsis, a strange new pattern of crime begins spreading across New York. Now, that wording is really interesting. Marvel didn't just say crime is increased. They specifically mention pattern, and that usually means these incidents aren't random. They're connected. Someone is pulling the string behind the scene. And by the time Peter realizes what's really happened, the synopsis says he'll be facing one of the most powerful threats he's ever encountered. Notice something? Marvel still hasn't revealed who that villain actually is. And honestly, that's probably one of the smartest marketing decisions they've made. Instead of giving everything away, they're building curiosity. Everyone has a different theory. Some fans believe this could introduce an entirely new MCU villain. Others think Marvel might finally bring back a classic Spider-Man enemy with a completely fresh twist. But right now, the truth is we simply don't know. And honestly, that's exactly what makes this movie so exciting. Now, let's go back to what I think is the biggest mystery of them all, Peter's physical evolution. It's important to remember Marvel hasn't explained what this actually is. So everything from this point forward is simply speculation based on the official description. One possibility is that Peter's spider ability are naturally evolving after years of nonstop stress and constant fighting. Another possibility, his powers are becoming unstable. Instead of making him stronger, they could actually become harder to control, lower voice, and honestly, that would create a completely different kind of Spider-Man, because for once, the biggest threat wouldn't just be a villain. It could be Peter himself. Imagine trying to save an entire city while your own body is changing in ways you don't even understand. That's a much more personal conflict than simply punching another bad guy. When you step back and look at everything together, this movie feels very different from Tom Holland's previous Spider-Man film. Homecoming was about becoming a hero. Far From Home was about living up to Tony Stark's legacy. No Way Home was about sacrifice. But Brand New Day seems to be asking a much deeper question. Who is Peter Parker? When no one remembers Peter Parker, that's a powerful idea. No family, no best friend, no girlfriend, no mentor, just responsibility. In many ways, this might be the closest we've ever come to the classic comic book version of Spider-Man, a hero who keeps doing the right thing even when nobody knows his name. Based on everything we've seen so far, Brand New Day doesn't look like it's trying to be bigger than No Way Home. Instead, it feels like it's trying to be more personal rather than another massive multiverse event. Marvel seems to be focusing on Peter himself, his loneliness, his responsibility, his identity, and whatever this mysterious evolution turns out to be, it already feels like the biggest question hanging over the entire movie. Of course, we'll have to wait for the first trailer before we get real answers, but if Marvel delivers on everything they've teased so far, this could easily become one of the most emotional Spider-Man stories we've ever seen. But now, I want to hear from you. What do you think Marvel means by Peter's physical evolution? Is it a brand new power, a dangerous mutation, or something completely different? Drop your best theory down in the comments. I genuinely love to read what you think. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more Spider-Man update, Marvel news, and movie deep dives, don't forget to subscribe to Hiddenshades. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.